think made the bigger fool of themselves this week? In the Democratic corner, we have Senator Chris Van Hollen. He flew down to El Salvador to check on Kilmar Abrego Garcia, an immigrant from El Salvador who crossed into the United States illegally years ago. And recently he was arrested, accused of being an MS-13 gang member, and deported, despite having been granted temporary legal status in the United States. The Trump administration has accused him of being a violent gang member, a human trafficker, and apparently his wife had a temporary restraining order against him at some point in the past. And Senator Van Hollen, he could have stayed here in the United States and focused on the major issues. The fact that the Trump administration said he was swept up by mistake, yet they didn't acknowledge any problem with their deportation processes, and they haven't taken any steps to remedy that mistake. The fact that they violated a man's constitutional right to due process, or the fact that the Trump administration violated a court order blocking the very flights that carried this man off to El Salvador in the first place. But instead of doing that, Senator Van Hollen flew down there for a photo op with a man, and he allowed himself to be photographed in a nice hotel with that man, wearing regular clothes, sitting at a table with a couple of margaritas. If this man does turn out to be a gang member or spouse abuser or human trafficker, Senator Van Hollen's going to be really sorry about this trip. Do not count the Republicans out, though. In their corner, we have Vice President J.D. Vance. In the midst of an escalating trade war, J.D. Vance decided he would go on TV and say, "We borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things these Chinese peasants manufacture." He said that about a country we should be trying to de-escalate tensions with. He slapped hefty retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods. They've canceled their orders for Boeing airplanes, and they've restricted the export of critical rare earth minerals and magnets to the U.S. And they are by far the major supplier of these raw materials. J.D. Vance, in his infinite wisdom, decides not to focus his comments on China's unfair trade practices, not to focus on their market manipulation, not to focus on the national security challenges posed by not having a domestic source of production for key elements of critical supply chains. Nope. Instead, he decided to insult an entire country, to call them peasants, and to imply that we don't want or need their goods or their money. J.D. Vance, the guy who wrote Hillbilly Elegy, calling the people of China peasants. I bet you can imagine how much they love that. So what do you think? Who made the bigger fool of themselves this week? It's a tough call.